Okay. All righty.
Scott, you got a pen?
I don't.
Good afternoon. This may be the single most pressing economic challenge in our state, and it's critical to our long-term economic success. California is home to 21 of the 30 most expensive rental housing markets in the country. On average, a person earning the minimum wage in California would have to work 3 full-time jobs just to pay rent for a 2-bedroom apartment. In too many of our cities, teachers, police officers, firefighters, and service workers, the people who we rely on every day to keep us safe, to feed us, and to educate our kids, can't even afford to live in the communities they serve. With dogged determination, my colleagues here in the Senate overcame past obstacles, to pass legislation that will put down a hefty down payment towards solving California's housing crisis. A crisis that not only exacerbates severe homelessness, but also threatens to stall our economy. Along with creating a steady funding stream for affordable housing, we send to the governor legislation to speed up home construction in a very responsible and efficient way. Now, I want to give a very special thank you to our colleagues on the green carpet, the members of the Assembly, for their boldness and for their dedication to moving forward a housing package together. The Senate and the Assembly working in concert with the governor to provide relief and remedy for millions of Californians who today are suffering because owning a home simply is out of reach for them for a whole variety of reasons. Today, the California State Senate, along with our friends and colleagues in the Assembly, are sending relief to our constituents throughout the state of California. With that, I want to bring to the microphone from San Diego, that is Senator Tony Atkins. Senator Tony Atkins, the author of Senate Bill 2.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. I'm almost speechless today. I want to thank our Pro Tem for making SB 2 part of a package and making sure that we had a package of housing opportunities and pieces of legislation that tackle almost every part of this crisis in California. You know, I'm thrilled to have my name on this piece of legislation, but let me be clear. My colleagues in the Senate, in the Assembly, and so many stakeholders and supporters from labor, the building industry, the environmental community, church faith-based groups, affordable housing advocates, chambers of commerce, business. This has been a labor of love for more than 7 years while we work together to really address every piece of what we heard in the feedback. So whether we're talking farm worker housing, homelessness, greatly needed dollars for technical assistance and community plans to make sure that we plan our housing well. Whether we talk about permanent supportive housing, housing for seniors, we've done that today. And I am so proud to be part of this body. I'm so proud of my colleagues. This is not a panacea. It doesn't answer every solution, but my gosh, it goes a long way in this incredible state, the 5th, 6th largest economy in the world. This is about real people and residents of California. I am so thrilled to be part of today, this historic day, and I just really want to thank you, and I want to send my thanks to the governor, who really made this also a priority. Without the Pro Tem, the governor, our speaker, and our colleagues, we wouldn't be here today. And for all of you that helped drive this for years, I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you. Next, we have up the senator from San Francisco, who is very dogged and determined to get Senate Bill 35 across the finish line. That is Senator Scott Wieners. Scott Wiener.
There's a piece of me that just can't believe we actually got this done. I mean, if you think about all of the years that this state has wanted to do something, has known that we have to address this crisis, has known that this is a statewide problem. It's not just in a few cities anymore. And yet it was so hard to do anything. There were so many barriers, whether it was the 2/3 vote needed to pass revenue for affordable housing, whether it was just having the political will to talk about rebalancing local control, to say local control is really important, but we also have to have some basic standards and accountability so that local communities don't decide to just opt out of building housing. And that's a hard conversation, and we did it. And we did it because of leadership of so many people, my colleagues. I am just so proud of all of them. This was a group effort. I really just want to give all the recognition in the world to our leader, Senator Kevin De Leon, who time and again was willing to step in and help, because none of these bills was easy. And if it were not for our leadership, for the Pro Tem and his staff, we would have hit a lot of walls. And so this was a group effort. You know, in my hometown of San Francisco, people are really struggling. We have so many people living on our streets. We have people who worry every single day that if they are evicted from their apartment, they will have to leave San Francisco and maybe even California. People who are terrified when they see their landlord painting their building because they think that's the first step to selling the building and emptying the building out. Seniors who don't think they're going to be able to stay in the city where they've lived for 30 or 40 years, or maybe for 80 or 90 years. And it is our job to step up. And this is not just a San Francisco or a Berkeley or a Santa Monica issue. It is throughout this state. We saw that there's a spike in rural homelessness. And so we're past the time where we can view every city as its own little independent kingdom. We are one state. We need a housing policy that lifts up everyone in California, and we did that today. And I'm just so grateful to everyone who made this happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Scott Wiener. Next up, talk about tenaciousness. This man is very tenacious. He started a long time ago with his measure, and I got to give it up to him because he stayed focused and he was relentless. Let's get it for the lone wolf of the California State Senate, el lobo solitario, Senator Jim Bell. Senator Jim Bell.
I think the $4 billion bond will hit California real quick and real hard with a bunch of new housing. So I'm really pleased with that economic impact that's going to happen in the next 2 to 3 years when we have all those homes built, 72,000 homes. And I really was pleased to have the measure going to the voters with a veterans housing. We got kind of criticized. I was on the assembly floor. They made some comments about you're wrapping the flag around the issue. But for me, it was really honoring my father, who was a veteran, and our family of 12, we lost our home because of a fire, and he got a loan to help the family. So I think there's a lot of us that have had those personal experiences of homelessness, and this is why I did that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Senator Jim Bell. Next, from Alameda County, from Berkeley, let's give it up for none other than Senator Nancy Skinner. Nancy Skinner.
Thanks so much. As you probably observed and as you've heard, it was a struggle, but we got it done. The bills create new investment. There's new money to all of our communities to build housing. There's some bills that address legal obstacles, that do some streamlining. And my bills, by tackling the not in my backyard obstacles that unfortunately occur in many of our communities, will help ensure that the housing actually gets built. So thank you.
Next, we have from Southern California, from Gardena. He played a vital role with regards to inclusionary zones. This is a very important policy, especially in light of the Palmer case that originates in Los Angeles. He had a very key role, a key voice that helped leverage and broker a deal that we're going to move forward now, that will now include inclusionary zoning. Let's get up for Senator Steve Bradford. Steve Bradford.
I'm just honored to join my colleagues in addressing this very important issue, and that is of housing here in California. And it's a problem that was really exacerbated by a vote we took a few years ago when we eliminated redevelopment agencies and led to the inability for developers to write down dirt. So this inclusionary housing piece is critical in incentivizing developers to put forth affordable housing or set aside a number of units for below market rates so working families can afford to either rent or buy here in California. So I'm honored to be a part of this, and I want to say thank you again to the members here who worked very hard, as well as the members on the Assembly, to bring us here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Steve Bradford. And last, we have the General here with us today. He played a key role as well, too. Obviously, housing is an issue that impacts every state, no matter if it's rural, suburban, or a concentrated, very dense city, whether it be San Francisco or Los Angeles. He hails from Riverside, and that is no other than General Senator Richard Roth. Richard Roth.
You know, as my colleagues noted, affordable housing is an issue that touches every single area of the state of California. I don't know if you know it, but even the legendary affordable housing of the Inland Empire is rapidly becoming not so affordable. And quite simply, we need to build more units. And to do that, we need to streamline the process, the CEQA process, the permitting process, and that's what Senate Bill 540 attempts to do. I'm privileged to be a part of this extraordinary team with these very, very talented colleagues of mine. Senator De Leon, thank you for including me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, General Roth. With that, we do have work that we have to continue on the Senate floor. I think maybe we can take a question or two at the most, or you may have questions of the authors themselves of these respective measures.
Still has to go to voters next year, and that's the primary funding source. How soon do you expect that we'll actually start to see all this come together and actually have more affordable housing that people can rent and move into?
Well, I think first ups first. I think we have to get this passed, get the governor to sign it, which we will. We got to go before the voters. You're absolutely right. We got to make a convincing case before the voters. I think that they will overwhelmingly be supportive of this measure. But let's go step by step. Let's get it passed by the voters first. Obviously, we'll be working with the Treasurer's Office when we go out there. I don't know, Jim, do you want to add something here?
Well, what we did when we structured the bond is we made it so we didn't have to set up any new programs. And I think, Senator Atkins, you did the same thing with your bill. So these, as soon as the voters approve it, money can flow because we're not changing a lot of the programs. We have the structure, we can get going. We've already coordinated this with the administration, so money can flow pretty quickly after the bonds are approved. And there's a pent-up demand of applications at the state housing department. Okay, they have so many applications they can't fund. It's not funny. So there's a lot of projects that are just waiting for this money. And as soon as we can get the money to them, they can get the tax credits, the private financing, the local government funds that will supplement what we're trying to do, and you know, go into the bonds can finance $20 billion of housing construction. So we think that right away, after the bonds are approved, the money can flow into projects.
Okay. One more question, I guess. Are you talking about the GO bond?
Yeah, the money, and if you look at the law that we wrote, the money is specific for different programs that exist now, and the money will be spent for those programs. So we have the farm worker housing program, multifamily housing program. We have a begin program that goes up to 150% of area median income for a home buyer assistance, you know, for working class home buying assistance. And then, of course, the veterans program, I think blended with the home buyer assistance program is going to be an excellent way of getting a lot of veterans to immediately start buying homes. So I think, you know, there's specific programs that are in the law. When they vote on it, they'll see that. So.
Okay, if you guys have any individual questions, you can pull a member off here and get your individual interview with that. Thank you very much. Sí, claro que sí, con mucho gusto.